going to show you tonight is a hostess appreciation event, how to put it together, kind of give you a timeline of what you need to do. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them. So the hostess appreciation event that I stole from Carlene and I've been doing for a while now is the hostess auction. And I know we've mentioned it before, but we have a lot of new people here. So I'm going to give you the who, what, where, when, why, and how of doing a hostess auction. So the who is your hostesses. It's any hostess that you've had in the past year or any hostess you've ever had, depending on how long you've been in business. When I do mine, I do anyone who's done a show in the past 2 catalogs. And then I always include any hostess who was a rockin' hostess for me. So maybe she had a show a year and a half ago and I want to get her back on my calendar. I invite those hostesses. The what? It's an auction. You're auctioning off all of your retired pieces. So anything that's retiring from this catalog, when it's time for that to come, you auction those pieces off, you're giving them to your hostesses as a thank you. Where? It's going to be at your house, or someone's house that you want your hostesses to go to, if you feel like you don't have a lot of space.
Just a quick question. When you say all your jewelry, you're talking about maybe 20 pieces, you're talking about, how many pieces do you usually auction?
I usually auction 50. It's a lot. I auction about 50 pieces. I have probably 70 that retired from each catalog, and I'm not going to do anything else with it. It's going to sit there, so I might as well use it. So, and I have tons lying around from past catalogs and all that stuff. The when, this is the important piece. You want to make sure that you're scheduling your auction in the end of July, or at the latest, the beginning of August. The reason for that being you don't want to give away your jewelry that's retiring before the catalog ends, so you don't want to do it too early in July. But you want to get bookings from this for August. So if you do it the last 2 weeks in July, it's a good time to kind of make that switch over to the next catalog. And the why is that they say thank you to your hostesses. Really, without your hostess, you don't have a business. They invite you to their home, they give you their guests, so without them, you don't have any. The secondary why is to get bookings on your calendar for the next catalog. So how? The first thing you want to do, and I only have one of these, it's a publisher, which I didn't realize it couldn't open. So I'm going to send this around for people to look at, but it will be posted on Jewish Gems. This is my invitation. And it basically says, thank you so much for supporting me in my business. You're invited to my home on such and such a date. And as part of that thank you, I have thousands of dollars in jewelry to give away. And I say, 50 some odd pieces that will be given away. And then I say, for coming, you're going to get $500 in auction money. If you bring a friend, you get an extra $100 in auction money. And if you book a show, you get an extra $300 in money. So there's some incentives there for them to bring new people. There's some incentives there for them to book shows for you. And also, if their friend books a show, they get the money too for booking a show. So it's kind of a nice way to round that up. So you're going to send out your invitations. Again, your guest list is any hostesses that you want to invite. You choose who you work with. So if you had a hostess who but you want to invite anybody who's a good hostess for you in a given time frame. So I would say, on average, I invite 50 to my house. Same rule of thumb as regular show. Only half to a third are going to show up. So I probably invite 50 on average to my show. That is step 1. Step 2 is the prep. What do you have to prep? The first thing I prep is my booking board. I have them book their shows. I don't have to think about it. They walk over, they pick a date on the calendar that I have highlighted, they fill out a card. If they hand me a card, they get extra cash to spend. So I don't have to deal with that piece. I always put, this is my one from January, I always put the first month coming up is the gems I put on. So if you're doing this in July, you're going to put the August gems up on your board so they know what the August special is, because that's the one you really want to push. But that just kind of stays to the side, kind of where the jewelry is set up for them to look at, and I direct them there, but I'm not worried about actually chasing them down. I send them that direction and they do it in tubs. The second thing you want to prep are your auction panels. They are popsicle sticks with little names on them. You can have them put their real name. What did you have them put?
Oh, whoever they want it to be.
Whoever they want.
Yeah, we had Ginger and Marianne and Anita, Lana, Anita.
Let them have fun with it. They can be whoever they want. It doesn't really matter as long as they have a little name, a little paddle on the I use Monopoly money because it's easier, you don't have to cut it, it's already in 50 and 100 denominations. But you do need to clip it ahead of time into 500s, 100s, 300s, whatever you're going to give them. What I do for my hostesses, what I did this past time, which worked really well, is I took their 500 for coming, and I clipped it to an index card that said how much jewelry they got at their last show. So, because I keep track of that on my hostess files, so that like star on the letter where it said you got 517 for 70, I wrote that on the card. So when I hand them their $500, they're getting a reminder of what they got the last time they had a show. And that really worked well at my last one, because about 3 or 4 people were like, oh my word, I forgot that I got $600 of jewelry because they had a show a year ago. So that was nice and simple. 2 other things that you have to do to prepare are just set up your jewelry. I put mine in trays, so I've got the 50 pieces laid out in trays, kind of organized neatly, but on the table in general. And then food. Like we tell our hostesses, keep it simple. One thing I did this past time that went over really well was I used recipes that I'd gotten at shows, and the hostesses thought that was the coolest thing. They walked in and there was their dip, and there was her croissant thing, and because I collect up recipes when I go to my shows. So it was really neat when they walked in, they saw their recipe on the table. It was really cool for them to be recognized in that way. So that is the prep. The day of, you just need to make sure that you have everything set up and ready. When they walk in, I give each person a little bag. Inside the bag is a new catalog, because I've ordered the new catalogs already. A blue box empty for them to put their jewelry in that they're going to get. And a gift from me. Sometimes I use hand creams, sometimes I use little nail sets, whatever I can find at Michael's or Target in the dollar section. Just something cute for them to go home with as a thank you again. And that is pretty much how to set it up. After that, they eat, they snack, sit down, and you just start auctioning off jewelry. I start at 50 for every piece, fold it up, talk about it, do a little spiel. This is lovely, this would look great with a tank top. And they start bidding 50, 100, 150 until no one's bidding anymore. Collect their money, hand them the jewelry, they pop it in their box, and then move on to the next piece. It's funny because you will have sister-in-laws or cousins, because they all know each other, because they were all at each other's shows half of them, fighting over pieces of jewelry, which is always fun and kind of interesting. And I stop about halfway through, let them take a break, let them grab food, and remind them they get an extra $300 if they book a show. That is when I book the most shows, because they want more money, or they want more jewelry. I do the higher end pieces at the end. So the higher end stuff is still sitting on the table, and they want more money so they can get it. That's when they run out to grab a show, grab a card, fill it out, hand it to me, I pass out more money. Wrap it up, I do the second half of the jewelry until it's all gone. Everybody's happy. They absolutely rave about it. I've had hostesses, I've heard of hostesses telling other people at their shows, oh my gosh, you've got to host a show. She does this auction thing and she gives away all this jewelry and it's like the coolest thing. And I would say I get at least 4 rebookings every time I've done it. And then there is the follow-up piece. Anyone who I invited that couldn't make it, I call them and say, just wanted to invite you to book a show with me. I offered such and such deal, and I wanted to extend it to you as well because I know you couldn't make it. And I usually get 1 or 2 bookings from that as well. Just giving them that call and saying, hey, sorry you couldn't come, but here's my offer. So that is my hostess auction. My third raffle for tonight is a little package on setting that up. It's got the calendars in there for you to put on your board. It's got the little blue bags to give your hostesses. It's got the cardstock, the popsicle sticks, and the index cards in an envelope to put on your poster. Questions about how to set it up, or?
I have a question.